Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Shamila Didi and the mentors. I am Shridarshini. I am working as assistant professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering in Anna University, Chennai. As Priya Didi was mentioning out, I joined my first UHV FDP during August 2023. After that, immediately after completing this online FDP, I joined in the eighth batch of the morning session. And with this past 2 years, I have attended some couple of the FDPs. And to give a brief about my family, my husband is a manager working in a private sector in Bangalore, and he has also into the UHV content. He has also completed UHV 2 twice, and we have two kids. The elder daughter is in grade 7 and younger son is in grade 2. To mention a good thing about our family, like all four of us have got a chance to taste the essence of these proposals. This makes me to have a conducive environment in my family to proceed further with my self exploration and also to validate the proposals. So, with this background, um, I just want to point out some understanding that I'm able to see in myself with the help of the FDPs and morning session. So, to mention a few, the proposal that I'm a consciousness unit coexisting with my body, the material unit, and is submerged in all pervading space. I have this continuous activity of imagination which is going on in me, and it's me, myself, who decides whether I should express my imagination to the outside world in terms of the behavior. And for this expression for the outside world, I use my body as the instrument. So these are some of the points uh, which were like information to me when I was doing the FDP. And I started to gain some insights of all these points with the help of the morning session exercises. Basically, with this bits and pieces of certain understanding of what I have got, I was looking into what is that which I see as indesirable behavior of mine. And I was able to see that this behavior of mine is directly related to the imagination that is going on in me. I want to ensure mutual fulfillment in all my relationship with all with whom I come in contact. And also I want to ensure the mutual fulfillment with rest of the nature. So this is what my desirable behavior and work towards the outside world. But most of the time, I see that I'm not able to achieve my desirable wants. I have done couple of sharings in the previous batches. I think it should be during the ninth and 10th batch where I have reflected the same. I can see what I want, what is the desirable behavior of mine, but I'm not able to have it continuously. So at times I have this feeling of guilt because I'm into this content for about 2 years. I get all the information about what I basically want and what is the program to fulfill my basic aspiration. But still, I'm not able to achieve it throughout. So, these kind of feeling of guilt was going on in me for a long time. And then, with the help of the mentors, I was able to be aware that I was just focusing on the outcome rather than the process. See, the process here, I would like to say that focusing on what is going on in my imagination. I was mainly outcome based. And with this clarity, then I started um, to look into the process rather than focusing on the outcome. I started to explore this exercise, these steps, little by little, especially concentrating on exercise one to focus on what is going on in my imagination. And with that, I was able to see the state of my harmony or within is something that I have to work at the level of my imagination. So, the ultimate understanding that I have got till now is to ensure my basic aspiration, that is continuity of happiness. I need to be aware of myself. Awareness happens with the observation. So, if I want to be happy for every moment, then I should be observing me every moment. I should be aware of me every moment. And the process to do it, I think this exercise one and two will be a best way to do that. So these 7 steps in exercise one and two, 7 steps each in exercise one and two, even though it seems to me a little difficult a few months before. I think it's till the batch of, I mean, the 12th batch. I felt little difficult to go on with these steps. And at times I have also thought, oh, why to continue? Maybe I can quit it because I'm not able to see the expected or the desirable behavior from me. But as the time goes on, I was able to understand the importance of doing this exercise, irrespective of what the desirable outcome is. So, if I go in deep into the exercise one, which is observing the self by the self every moment, when I check on with this 7 steps, I can see that the step one is most effective and important. That is simply to be aware and observe without any reaction. I'm trying to be aware of my imagination. The duration has increased when compared to the last few batches. I can see that I'm able to catch my thoughts easily than the feelings. And of course, most of the time it happens without reaction. The very moment that I'm able to see what is going on in me, I was able to see that without reactions. And after that, initially or even now, I feel little difficult to catch out the feelings behind the thoughts. It takes some time for me to understand what is the feeling that I have behind the thought and to check it whether it is naturally acceptable to me. I can see both the cases to happen. Like certain thoughts were really good that I can see the feelings are making me good. And on the other side, I do get certain thoughts which are not that much good. And it causes, or it makes me to have an unacceptable feeling. But as a whole, what I can say is by following all these things, I'm able to see that this harmonious feelings within me has increased when compared to the day one. I'm able to see that. And going on with the step four, when I look into who is responsible or who decided the feeling, what I can notice is even though the thoughts or the feeling is, it may be or it can be favorable to me or it may not be favorable to me. Something which happened already, something which is anticipated to happen in the future, So both the scenarios are possible. But I can see that irrespective of the favorable or unfavorable thoughts which is going on in me, I do have the choice to keep myself in harmony. When I decide what feeling should I have at this very moment, irrespective of the thoughts and feelings which are going on in me, and if I'm able to decide it based on the understanding of realities, based on the right understanding, then whatever may be the thoughts, I'm able to see that I may not be having impact of those things in me. So when I look into the step 5, that I decide, when I decide on the basis of the right understanding rather than the assumption, then I'll be able to ensure this harmonious feeling within me. But I can also see that I still lack in having the completeness or even the right understanding and clarity about the realities. So at times, or most of the times, the decision of mine is based on the assumption and preconditioning I have, that is based on my sanskars. And going on with step 6, I can see that this feeling of relationship, harmony, and coexistence is naturally acceptable to me. And I feel very comfortable with these feelings. And I can see that I need to have this exploration in me, that is the experiential validation of all the proposal to get the completeness of the realities in the whole existence. So that this process will ensure me to be with the naturally acceptable feelings. That is a state of continuous happiness and harmony at every moment. One thing which bothered me when I was doing this exercise one is I'm able to go on with the step one, two, three, and other things. I'm able to see that what is the feeling that can keep me in a state of harmony. But at times I struck with when I have a very deep rooted sanskars of mine, when I have certain thoughts and feeling related with that, I am able to come out of it. I am able to um, switch over to what is naturally acceptable to me. Then I got certain guidance so that when such kind of things happen, when I feel that I'm struck, I was instructed to see what is the fundamental reality. So when I have some conflict with any of my family members, then I was trying to focus on that a human being is a coexistence of self and body, and also what is the intention of mine and what will be the intention of the other. Some way or the other, I try to focus on these realities, which helped me to get out of uh, the disharmony which has happened because of this feelings and thoughts in me. So this is about exercise 1. So moving on to the exercise 2, which is observing self, body and interaction between them in the space. So I can see the first 3 steps very clearly, that I am a coexistence of self and body, which means I am here and my body is also there. We are coexisting and we are submerged in the space. So all these things, maybe I'm not able to differentiate the self and body in the space, but I can see it. And there is this transaction of information with the body, and that too it happens based on my decision. Whenever I want to transact the information to the body, or whenever I want to sense it from the body, I'm doing it. I can see the step 2. So it's me, as I can see in the exercise one, it's me who is deciding what and when to pass on the instruction, when to receive the sensation, and also I'm the one who is giving the instructions to my body as how to respond, whether to respond or to react. So all these are, I mean, I'm the one who is deciding as how to proceed with. Step four, where yes, I can see that I'm not the sensation. I'm the one who is deciding as uh, how to behave, and I can see that I'm not the sensation. I'm different from the sensation that is taking place. But I can read the sensation from various parts of the body as well as from the outside environment. This I have done, like in order to check whether I'm the sensation or I'm something different from the sensation. I hope I have shared this already. Like whenever some sensation is happening, I was just trying to look into it. Just listen to it or just get the details of it rather than instructing anything to be done to my body. So even if I get a pain, then I just look into it without doing anything. A strict instruction of not to do anything. And then I was observing how is the sensation, how long I can, I'm getting the sensation, and so on. I have done this and checked for myself, but to ensure that I'm not in the sensation and I'm not the sensation. I can see that the way by which I interact with the outer world or even with my body is through this transaction of information. I decide to either read or avoid the sensation, and then I try to analyze it, give the meaning, and out of this process, I decide as how to exhibit the behavior. I decide to either react or respond based on my sanskars. I can also see that unless or otherwise my sanskars are based on the right understanding and feeling, then I generally tend to react with the outside environment. Mm. So, going on with the step seven of exercise two, this is generally, or this is ultimately the information that I have in me, that I'm coexistence in space. I can see that I'm submerged in space, but I think this particular step needs time. I need time to have the experiential validation of this particular step. So, out of these 14 steps, what I can see for myself is, uh, say, about 12 steps I'm comfortable with. I may not be continuous in doing all the 12 steps, but I can see I'm very much comfortable with, say, 10 to 12 steps. And going on with my notion of happiness and the program to ensure it, I can see that the source of my happiness, that is, the happiness needs to be innate if I want to have the continuity of it. I can also see that when I depend on the outside world, or maybe when I depend on my imagination uh, to seek happiness, then it may not be a continuous one with my current state. But I do agree that I seek happiness from outside with the awareness that I can't have continuity of the same. And this defines um, what is the competence that I have at this level. So when I look into the program I have right now to ensure this continuity of happiness is none other than this exercises. Because at least I have tasted some of these steps and I'm able to see for myself that I have um, I have I'm able to get this happiness at least for quite longer time than before. So my program will be like try to be aware and observe my imagination continuously, and then to decide what is the feeling that I should have based on the understanding that I have in me. Maybe I would like to quote some of the impacts of the UHV proposals and morning sessions. See, impact at the level of an individual, I can see that I get this feeling of self regulation. Generally, I'm not a person with take I mean I don't have any strict routine or something to be followed for the self regulation of my body, but as of now I can see that this happened naturally. I'm able to see I got the feeling of self regulation towards my body, mainly in terms of what to have for my food and what not. So there is some visible outcome, like preferring to have the food that nurtures, preferring to have a food that is prepared at home. So these are some of the visible outcome that I can see for myself. Then uh, I do have this. Um, I do have this problem where I will not be much confident when I work with the material world. See, for example, I have this fear of driving a car. So I can see now that with certain basic clarity of what is this consciousness unit, what is this material unit, and who is that, who is deciding, and with all these things, I'm able to make it up. I'm able to drive the vehicle with comfortable feelings inside. So generally, if someone asks me to drive a car, then I will feel panic, anxiety. I will get this fear. I will shiver, and I tell, even though I have a license, I'm a license holder for the past 10 years. I will not be feeling much comfortable. So if some situation demands, I'll be having so much of disharmony within me, and I'll be doing it. But now I can see that with certain clarity, I'm able to have harmonious feeling within me, and with the decision that I'm taking. This is at the level of an individual. At the level of the family, there is a drastic improvement in the relationship I have with my family members. Certain, like, I'm not able to look the outcome that happened at the level of family, but certain things which was reflected by my family members made me to clearly notice that I have a shift. So certain things are like my daughter says that I have reduced shouting at her. I have reduced the reactions that I show towards them. So this is one from my daughter. I can see mainly that the issues with my in-laws that I generally used to have before, it has drastically reduced. And as of now, for the past 2 to 3 months, I'm able to see. Maybe I'm not sure whether I'm looking deep into me, but at the level of the surface, I'm able to see that I'm quite comfortable and okay with whatever is happening in the family with them. And one of the main impact that I can see at the level of my family is my relatives, those who are not very close, those who doesn't fall under the first circle of my family, they started to attend this online FDPs. About 3 to 4 of my cousin, they joined the online FDPs and they have completed it only because of certain changes in the behavior that they have seen in me. And at the level of the society, yeah, I do had couple of observation from some of my colleagues who are very much senior to me and with whom I have not interacted much. So I got a chance where one of the professor just called me and said she was able to see certain difference in my behavior, the way I talk. Before 2 years when I joined the college, the way I talk used to be a kind of tensed, very fast. She has told me like I would be wondering whether you are thinking before talking. And now after this 2 years of span, she was able to see. certain calmness, certain shift in the way I talk and behave with people. And she also mentioned that this is one of the reason why she wants to undergo the FDP, UHV FDP, and they asked us to organize one in the college. So these kind of outcomes or this kind of reflection when it comes from the colleagues or the institute, like it seems very promising for me that I can go on with this process and I'll be able to like see the shift for myself. And another noticeable change in myself is like I'm trying to participate. So these 1 year, 1.5 years, what I was doing, I was just thinking to have stick on with the self-development programs and let me develop myself first and let me see whether I can help the others. This is what the mindset which I was having for this long time. But now I can see what is the need for me to participate at the higher level so that I can be the one to initiate and motivate this with other people. So I can see that I'm taking efforts to participate at the level of the society, even at the level of the institute. I'm trying to make it up. The outcome is something different, which is not in my control. Getting an expected or favorable result or not doesn't depends on me, but I have decided to try for it, to try to participate at larger order. And the impact at the level of the nature, I have to clearly admit that I'm just getting the awareness, like uh, how much of the raw materials that I'm extracting and I'm using for myself. And I'm able to check for myself that whether this is really needed or that is really needed. It's only at the level of my imagination and awareness, and I have not taken any serious steps towards it. So these are all the impacts that I have out of this content and morning exercise. And moving on to the final commitment part, I'm attending the morning session. It's not that I have a full attendance, but I'm trying to do it at least for 80 to 90% of in every batch. I'm a part of this SR team where we have this weekly meetings. I'm into a team development team also. Um, this is for myself that I am doing to have to get this right understanding. And when it comes to the social responsibility, I may not be I may not be able to mention specifically about how many hours that I'll be able to be, but I will be a part in taking the social responsibility as and when I can, and as and when it is needed. So I'm open to it to participate at the larger order. So this is from my end, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
जी
नमस्ते श्रीमती जी।
नमस्ते नमस्ते श्रीदर्शनी जी
Namaste, Didi.
yes I have been interacting with Shridarshini ji off and on. We have met in Chennai in a couple of workshops, and I have spoken to her several times. We have discussed things. We have talked about family matters. And what I can say is that I can see that the restlessness in you that was there earlier, that seems to have come down. What I can also see is that there is a lot more acceptance of things. So there was a question from somebody about, I think Anil Vasanji, about what kind of program we make. So I think the program comes later. First of all, is within us the acceptance of things as they are. And when we do that, and we take this decision to explore into us deeply, things start to happen. So what Shridarshini ji also mentioned, that earlier this information was there. So we all go through these cycles, You hear something and you think, oh, it's very simple. Exercise 1, exercise 2. 7 steps here, 7 steps there. And when we get that information and we think about it, we are not seeing what we have grasped from it. We are seeing that this information has come to us and we are looking at our natural acceptance and we are saying this is what we want. And we think that we have understood everything. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. So the information comes to us, but we need to make it our own wisdom. That is the part that takes time. So many of us may, kind of reflect on it superficially and say, oh, you've been doing this for 2 years. Why are you going on doing things again and again? Can't you understand in one time? But it's not that simple. We get the information. However, we need to churn it within us. We need to try to see it in our living. Until and unless it comes in our living, we have not understood anything. We have the information only. So the first step, I think, is that decision to look within. Because many a times that decision takes a long time. Anytime there is discussion of trust, again the question goes back to, but why should I be the one to give in? Why shouldn't the other be such and such way? Or why should I do this? Why only me? Then the other will take advantage of me. This is all our mind's chatter. This is what prevents us from deciding to take that step. So I would say for everyone, if that decision is not made, let's at least start experimenting with it. Let's at least say that, okay, let me try it out and see. Then you can, come to some conclusion about it. But before experimenting, before seeing, we go with whatever our previous conditioning is, and we say, okay, this doesn't work, or I don't think it's possible, it's not practical. And all these things our mind is going on with. And ultimately, that delays the decision making. But if you really see, problem is not so much with, getting it in our behavior. The problem is more with the decision making. Once the decision is made, once we have decided, we make time for it. And we make the effort also. So I think that is one thing that Shridarshini ji mentioned very nicely, that there was a time when she felt, okay, it's not working. Because once we have the information, we think we know it. But then there are problems carrying on in relationship. There is problems at the level of my calmness. And I feel, okay, it's not working. It's not working because I have it as information, but I haven't really worked on it decisively. So once that decision gets made, then I start really earnestly working on it, and I can see the changes happen. So it happens in a very natural way, because whatever is within me, that is what is expressed outside. Even if I don't express it in words, very often it gets expressed in my actions. So many participants share that in the beginning, they're all excited and they feel that they have found something wonderful. And they keep trying to tell the other members of the family that you should also do this. But at the same time, if it's not in my living and I'm still proceeding the same way, arguing, fighting, and so on, family members are not convinced because they feel it's not working for her. What's the point of our doing it? But the moment you yourself start changing, that change in your behavior, that level of calmness that you have, that is what is so appealing to the family members and to others who come in contact with you. And they themselves will then approach you, say, what exactly are you doing? How is it that you have changed so much? And then that's the right time to help them, guide them to also try to experiment with these proposals. But I think we rush into it because, again, that old sanskar of wanting to change everybody else because we think the problem is outside. So we keep trying to change our family members, our workplace people, and then somewhere this sense of ego that I'm doing this something special, so I'm better than the other, that tends to put in a comparison. So I think this part of acceptance of things as they are and then moving towards a change, that brings about a shift. And I'm glad to see that Shridarshini ji is in that process of shifting. And so many of the behaviors are settling down because the inner instability is also settling down. And I know that Shridarshini ji is very sincere, very competent, hardworking, and is making all efforts with the volunteering. So all the best of wishes to you, Shridarshini ji, for further exploration.
Thank you.
And yeah, and I also have to say that her daughter also was very influenced and by UHV and has also explored some of the proposals, as Shridarshini ji said. And so we've had discussions regarding all those also. So all the best, Shridarshini ji. Best wishes.
Thank you, Didi. Thank you so much.